Welcome to Arts District. I'm your host, Carrie Saldo. Dale Chihuly's name has become synonymous with the art of blown glass. Glass is also typically aligned with another word, fragile. Although Colorado is one of the most hail-prone states in the country, that hasn't stopped Denver Botanic Gardens from hosting a monumental sculpture show of Chihuly's glass. It's there that Chihuly staged the most recent in his Garden Cycle series. Dale Chihuly's work shattered ideas that fine art and glass were incongruous. His techniques, brazen use of color, bodacious shapes, and outlandish size, refined over his 40-year career, have elevated glass to fine art status. His work appears in more than 200 museum collections worldwide, and this installation at the Denver Botanic Gardens is part of his ongoing project, Garden Cycle.
The scale of it is pretty massive. We have 14 sites, and there are multiple pieces of glass for every single one of those sites.
We really wanted to take advantage of all 24 acres of the garden, and specifically the water features. Dale loves water. He's inspired by water. So that was one of the major focuses he had in putting this show together. Coming into the garden, we wanted to do something pretty monumental to great visitors, since I've introduced them to the work. So we've got a 30-foot neon tower that obviously looks very different in the nighttime hours.
We did a walk around starting about 8:30 and going until about 11:30 at night once all the sculptures were installed. And so I got to be the first one outside of the Chihuly studio to see all the sculptures at night. And it's astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. There are places that feel like fire, and there are places that feel like the sunburst, and there are places that just feel like a really cozy and intimate, lovely, beautiful garden. It's a fantastic thing to see.
There are some challenges in working with gardens, but our team is very sensitive and respectful of the gardens, working with the horticulture team. In some cases, we're looking at several thousand pounds of armature and glass, so as you can imagine, there's some engineering that's involved in that. I would say it's a combination of magic and behind-the-scenes practicality.
We had a team that included staff members, hired art handlers, volunteers from the Botanic Gardens side of things, and then 8 people from the Chihuly studio, usually at any one given time, that were working constantly.
A piece like the Summer Sun, as you come along the walkway coming into the garden, has over 1,900 individual elements that are fixed to a steel armature that's at the core of it. And then in the case of the perennial walkway, we have individual elements that are staked, taking advantage of those view pockets and the beautiful plantings. You are seeing a little bit of movement to keep that sort of organic flow. You have to keep the work stable, because with the weather, eventually they're going to clank into each other. It has hailed, it has rained sideways, it has blown very hard, and now it's 90 degrees and sunny. So I think we have certain expectations that we're going to be encountering some weather here in Denver. We did have some hail during the installation. That would probably be the one type of weather condition that we really hope doesn't occur. We've been through hurricanes in Florida, we've sustained high winds. He has a chandelier that's embedded in a granite rock in the Cascades that's been there since 1998. They get 6 feet of snow a year. So the glass is surprisingly hardy, but it's glass, and some of the elements are a little more delicate, so they are a little more vulnerable.
It really has a wide range of forms and colors.
He likes the raw materials, raw elements. He likes that his work almost appears as if it could have come from nature. They're influenced by the sun, by the wind. That's something that is fascinating to him, and you can see that carried through his work.
There's some that are very spiky and slim. There's some that are very round and organic. There are some that look like snakes, and there are some that have very floral forms to them. So they really run the gamut. The impression for many, many people is that it completely fits here, that it's at home here. And I think Dale would concur with that in fact he likes the idea that you turn the corner and it looks like it's a natural thing that's in that setting.
He has revolutionized the boundaries of the media. Exploring glass as a material to work with. I think he's one of the first to really take glass off-center, to give it more of an organic form and feel.
Beautiful.
He's most well known as a glass artist. However, he has worked extensively in a material called polyvitro, which is a term that he's coined, It's a polyurethane material.
We have glass, we have neon, and we have the polyvitro pieces that are all part of the exhibition. But the thing they have in common is that sort of translucence quality and also that piercing piece that sun provides and the light provides for it. And so that actually has a completely different feel to it than anything that we've had in the gardens before. We've never had glass in the gardens before. And so you're going to have the light playing off of them in a particular way, and throughout the day, throughout the seasons, it's all going to be different, and they look completely different at night. They also look completely different at sunset and at sunrise, and so every moment is going to be a little bit different. It's pretty fantastic. It takes your breath away.
It's incredibly rewarding and a pleasure to work in these beautiful gardens. He's very curious and interested in trying new things. The team will be pushing the scale of the medium, the weight, the color, pretty much anything you can imagine. He's a genius at inspiring us all to try new things and push beyond boundaries.
I'm Carrie Saldo. Like us on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, sign up for our newsletter, and come back to our studio next week. Arts District is a collaboration between Rocky Mountain PBS and public radio stations KUVO and KVJZ.